If you're here for the regular meeting of the North Bend School District on April 4th, Thursday night, you're in the right place. So welcome. Flag pledge, the flag is to my left. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. We got Dallas Pettenbrink here, Michelle Roberts, Carol Yardley, myself, Jim Jordan. Really please, Mary Schilling. So we got 6 of our 7. Okay. Item 2 on the agenda, approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion or debate? Negative. Okay. All in favor of the motion and second to approve the agenda as proposed, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nays? 6-0. Okay, item 3, public participation.
We do not have any.
No God. Okay. Item 4, communications, 4A, board reports and communication.
Okay, board leader.
Okay, all right. We met in August 2023. We established 2 goals. The superintendent, goal number 1, academic achievement. Goal number 2, student behavior, climate, culture. Okay, 4B, student representatives, high school representatives, and we have some. Glad you guys are here.
Sorry, we missed them.
You were missed.
Oh,
Okay, let me scroll up here. Where is it? Spring sports are well underway at the high school.
over spring break, our softball team traveled to Northern California and played 5 games, winning 2 games, losing 2, and tying 1. They started league play on Tuesday with a home game against Marist. Unfortunately, they lost 14-9.
Our baseball team traveled to Arizona to play 4 games against schools from Florida, Illinois, and Oregon. They tied 1 game and lost 3, but got to watch some great spring training games besides playing baseball. On Tuesday, they also played Marist and beat the second-ranked team in the state 3-2 with a walk-off single by one of our freshman players.
Tomorrow, our JV baseball and softball teams are at home for games against Junction City, while our varsity teams travel to Junction City. Game times are 3 and 5.
Our competition cheer team traveled to Las Vegas over spring break to participate in the Sharp Nationals competition. Our team placed first in their division. On Wednesday this week, we had them escorted to school by the North Bend Police and Fire Department.
Our golf teams will be competing over the next 2 days in a tournament put on by Marshfield High School. They will play at Coos Golf Course tomorrow, and on Saturday, our teams will travel to Bandon Crossings. We have a couple of outstanding individuals on both our boys and girls team, and they should be fun to watch when the district and state meets get here.
Our boys and girls tennis teams are playing matches now. This Saturday, we'll compete against St. Mary's of Medford. If you have not had a chance to come out and watch sophomore Reagan Farm play, you owe it to yourself to come watch her at some point this season.
Our track teams have competed in a couple of meets this past week. They went to Marist High School and competed against other schools in our league. This Saturday, they will compete in Coos Bay at the Prefontaine Memorial Meet.
Did you know that all of our sports, band, and concert schedules can be found online at bulldogsports.org? Next year's fall and winter team sports schedules are posted there already.
The North Bend High School prom is being held on April 27th at the Bristol Event Center in Coos Bay. Tickets are now on sale. North Bend High School juniors and seniors can purchase tickets for themselves and one guest if they choose. The ticket prices are $20 for a single ticket and $35 for couple tickets. North Bend High School students who purchase an ASB sticker will get tickets at a discounted price.
Our band and choir programs will be taking a trip to Canada next week. They will leave on Thursday and return on April 15th. Our band and choir programs have been doing trips like this for a number of years now, and it's just one of the great things about being involved with these programs.
Right now, we have the 2nd annual senior class dodgeball fundraiser happening in the gym at the high school. We have about 10 teams entered in the event. We even have a teacher team entered in the event too.
Valedictorians, all 12 of them, and one salutatorian were announced today at the high school. Perfect 4.0 GPAs, Ethan Amato, Finley Cheel, Alyssa Crook, Adara Goslin, Sophia Hutcherson, Whitney Queiroz Garcia, Leland Rodriguez, Emma Spalding, Grace Steffens, Eleanor Ton, Garrett Better, Abigail Woodruff, and at a 3.9872 GPA, Peyton Johnston, our salutatorian.
All our school awards will be held on April 25th at 6 in the gymnasium. This is a chance for our teachers to nominate students in their classes for the academic excellence.
And our joke of the day. Did you hear about the teenager who failed his driving test?
No.
He thought it was a crash course. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. I guess it's great to hear that our baseball team gets to go to spring training in Arizona. I thought that was fabulous. And I guess Vince, you got to see them play, or?
I saw our baseball team play 2 times. I saw them on their first game on Monday. They played a team from Colorado. That's when they tied. And then I didn't see them Tuesday, but on Wednesday they played 2 games, and Bell and I were there for both of those. I played a team from Florida and the team from Illinois. And I don't know how big the school was from Florida, but the Illinois team is a school of 3,000 kids. So, so when we go there, we're not playing against other schools of 700. We're playing against good schools. So it was a lot of fun, great fun, and got to see them when our first spring training game that I went to was on Sunday in Peoria, where we watched the Mariners, and they were also there. So I had a chance to sport my Bend hat and wear my North Bend stuff and see those guys there. So it's a lot of fun.
Good. Okay, 4C Association Reports, North Bend Education Association Report. Eva Varga.
In just a minute, but we could have it's fine. Right, good evening. I'm glad to be here. I was at a conference during the March board meeting, so I wasn't able to be here. But I'm back. Anyway, Marathon Madness has begun at both Hillcrest and North Bay Elementary Schools. Hillcrest starts the first part of March and North Bay starts the 1st of April. But as of March 20th, the last time I heard the numbers, Hillcrest students had already run over 15,000 laps. And I don't recall exactly how many miles that is, but the kids are really excited. They come into like my class, for example, I presume they're doing this everywhere, but just so excited to share how many laps they've won and what that means. Is it a super snack or, what award are they getting? So it's a really fun time. And I guess at Hillcrest, we're going to be continuing Marathon Madness at least until the end of May. And so there's a lot of days available for you all to come and join them. Come on out and put on your trainers and run a few laps with them. I think they would love that. So the Hillcrest PTA also coordinated a very popular fundraiser, the Jumping Hound Dogs, recently. And it was a lot of fun to watch the kids. They're jumping rope and there's music playing and it felt very festive and it was just a good atmosphere. Spring concerts at each of the schools have been very well attended and the student performances have been excellent. It speaks very strongly to the commitment of our music teachers, Sharon Rogers at Hillcrest, Stacy Tate at North Bay, Janet Lee, Sarah Massey at the middle school, and then of course Amber Yester at the high school. Bridges students have also enjoyed several very successful field trips. They've visited SWAC, the Coast Guard Station, and even a native plant nursery. And each of these experiences have provided them an opportunity to learn about different career opportunities. Teachers across grade levels are gearing up for their annual state testing. This requires that the test administrators, whether or not they're the certified teacher or classified staff, but anyone who's in the room and involved in administering the test has to renew some training every year. We have to go through this required training. It also involves a tremendous amount of work to coordinate schedules And if you know anything about scheduling, that is like the worst part of any job, right? Trying to get everything to work so that both staff and students, it doesn't impact their daily schedule. The goal is to impact it the least amount as possible. I mean, you can't avoid missing classes to do testing, but they try very hard to make sure that that's as minimal as possible. District writing samples have also, I believe, I'm not sure if everybody has finished collecting the writing samples, but there's a small pool of teachers who've kind of volunteered to be a part of the scoring pool, the teachers who will score these. And so that's underway. The middle school and high school have also recently completed forecasting, and the high school I know has their numbers in hand, and they're thereby planning the courses that they are going to be offering in the fall, both core and elective courses. And one of the things I'm really excited about is I heard there's going to be a Spanish class or world cultures class at the middle school. So I think that's something that is going to be a really good benefit to all of our students. Currently, there are 10 staff members attending a conference, the Oregon Response to Instruction and Intervention, and they've reported that they're learning a lot and having a great time. Whenever we get that opportunity to attend conferences, especially if we can do so with our colleagues, it's an invaluable experience because not only are we hearing from experts in the field, but we get an opportunity to, like over lunch, like sit down and really talk with our colleagues, something that we don't have a lot of time for when, on our regular day. So that's been a really good experience. I also wanted to start a new trend. And so, Joe, if you could pull up my presentation. I wanted to highlight the work that our educators are doing, not just certified staff, but classified staff as well. And so I've put out like a Google form, and I've asked all of our staff to share with me some notes and of colleagues who've gone the extra mile for them. And this could be something really small, like maybe they're having a bad day and this colleague brought them a Dutch Brothers coffee or something. It would be something small, but it also could be something larger than that, whatever they wanted to nominate their colleagues for. So my hope also is that each month I can share with you and highlight the work of one staff member from each of the buildings. This is something I've just started. So in this first go around, I don't have necessarily one from each building, but that will be the goal as people discover what I'm doing. So I don't know how to, where's the clicker? Okay, go ahead. All right, so the first one that was nominated was Heather Fleming. You all know Heather very well. She works at the district office as our teacher on special assignment, and she's here at most all of the board meetings. Heather is dependable, helpful, knowledgeable, respectful, professional, and has greatly enhanced my development as a teacher. Those were the words that were provided to me by the colleague who nominated her. And I know that she, as is in this quote, works really hard to help teachers, especially newer teachers, find their voice as an educator. So she's a wonderful colleague. Click. Our next educator is Jeff Buskerud, or as everyone calls him, Mr. B. He in our nomination comes from a 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Tim, and she says, Mr. B has worked with me for the last few years to create a connection between 5th graders and kindergartners. He allows me to send some of my students to read and listen to the kinders once a week. This creates a sense of community. My students love seeing their reading buddies in the hallway and outside, and this also allows me to work with small groups who need extra work or extra help during this time. So thank you, Mr. B, you rock, said Mrs. Tim. And I can attest to this. I have a couple of 5th graders who've been buddied up with a kindergarten student, and just coincidentally, my kinder ELs are heading back to their class when my 5th graders are coming in, and when they see each other, they kind of like give each other hugs, and they're just like, hi, and this is such a delight to see that happening across grade levels. Click. The next nomination is Jacinda Favilla. She's a Title I reading specialist at Hillcrest, so she teaches students in every grade level and is very knowledgeable of all the students in the building. Her nominator, excuse me, states, Jacinda is always thinking about ways to help students improve their reading ability. She also runs all of Hillcrest student study team meetings and does a great job of trying different learning strategies to help students at school. She does a great job of managing her staff and always seems to know everyone's schedules. She makes Hillcrest a better place by being a part of our team. So that's Jacinda. Click. All right. As I was putting this together, was like, I need pictures because everything's so much better with pictures, right? And so my thought was, okay, I'm going to Google like Renee Brown, North Bend School District, and I was hoping it'd pop up on the district website. Well, they're no longer there, and that's okay. But I was not able to get a picture of Renee. So this is a rose Viking. The name of the rose is the Viking, so that's why I selected this one. Anywho, her colleague Sunshine says, Renee genuinely cares for North Bend students. She strives to meet each and every one at their level and help them reach their full potential. She knows the community and the school very well and is a great asset to North Bay. And the next one. All right, this is Blake Kemp. He's a science teacher at North Bend High School. And I wasn't able to find like a current picture of Blake. And so this was really cool. And I was like, he was actually the first one I was like Googling, trying to find. And this is actually a picture from the University of Oregon, because come to discover, he used to run track and compete in the decathlon for the University of Oregon. I thought, wow, I'm really excited that I'm doing this because I'm like learning about my colleagues, and I'm hoping that you are too. Anyway, his nominator, Christina Geierman, says, Blake taught my 7th period class when I had to go home sick. The next morning, he came in early to administer a test to one of my students who needed to make up their incomplete grade before the end of the term. And when my substitute teacher accidentally deleted the first half of the subnotes, he alerted me to the problem, and so my students could get their instructions. So coming in a clinch to help the substitutes and always there to help his colleagues. So that's all we'll be doing tonight. And so I hope that you enjoyed this, and hopefully in the long term, you'll get to meet all of us at some point in time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 5, action consent. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Vince Swaggerty, our superintendent report, 4D. Sorry about that, Vince.
And I will start by saying, thank you, Eva, Eva,
I'm sorry.
thank you so much.
Oh, they know that.
That is amazing.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
I'm hoping that I can get one from every building, but I might have to poke a few people, but
Wow, that
Yeah.
really was, that's amazing. Thank you. All right, so I'll run through mine, quickly. Thank you for your patience. I usually have it written and put out there with the board, but see that was during the time that I was in, Snuffdale. As Carol so lovingly puts it, having lived in that area. But so I wrote it up, yesterday. So state testing, just as even mentioned, state testing is underway, very soon. And so they did work very hard. Kudos to Dana and everybody else who was a part of trying to make the schedules work at all schools so that they had the least amount of disruption and impact on a student's day, and yet able to get our testing done. I did have a chance from a personal standpoint to attend concerts the week before spring break. So I got to be out of Hillcrest. What an amazing experience that was. What's neat about what Sharon does out there is that you don't just sing. You're going to be singing some songs, you're going to be playing some songs, you might play the ukulele, you might play the recorder, you might play a percussion instrument, so there's all kinds of opportunities for students to not only explore their voices, but to explore instruments as well. And then put that all together in a concert. So I was very appreciative to see that. It was 4th and 5th graders that I got to see at that concert. And then turned around and on the other end of the spectrum, where you're watching our high school band, who are, consistently state champ, 5-time state champ, to perform on the Wednesday night of prior to spring break. And that was just a wonderful concert, amazing, tremendous musicians. And not only their ensembles, but their individual competition, the small groups or individuals that performed, I think there were 5 or 6 different performances, where those smaller groups were gonna go and compete state level. So, neat concert. Talked about the spring baseball already, had an opportunity to go down and be a part of that. Speaking of spring, April is a long month. This is the only month that we have. I'm trying to think, is there any other month that doesn't have a scheduled break-in? Because you go all the way back, even October has a state in-service day that we have. So April is the only month that basically doesn't have some kind of a natural break, a 3-day weekend somewhere built into it. And so a few years ago on our calendar, they decided to take that, what this year is April 26th, and make that a day that we don't have anybody in buildings. And so so that's coming up. But again, this is kind of a long month for everybody. But that's, now that we're after spring break, my goodness, it's time's gonna fly, and then pretty soon you're all gonna be up on the stage watching kids wear flat hats and robes going across the stage in front of you. I also mentioned the Oregon RTI conference, 10 people that we have there. Gave you a little rundown as to what the conference is about. A couple other things I want to mention that didn't get on there, we just found out yesterday. Select Choir won the regional competition. Therefore, they on May 3rd are going to travel the state, and they earn the right to participate and compete at the state level. All right. Next week, the band will be having their regional competition, and with hopes of being able to qualify for state as well. Today we heard about Marathon Madness. With all of the people going to the RTI conference, they were a little short-handed out at North Bay, so I joined them out there, and I got to be. I spent an hour. I did run by, and they have to log every lap, and they have a cool electronic way to do that with QR codes and badges and people, adults with iPads. And so all lunch long, I was out there doing Marathon Madness, and the rule is you got to run 2 laps before you can go play. So I'm thinking, okay, well they'll run their 2 laps and they'll go play. Oh no, every once in a while you have a kid do that, but you know what? That kid's doing 10, 11, 12 laps. I think that 8th lap out there at North Bay is where you hit the mile mark. So we had kids that were actually literally walking a mile and a half. And so it's just a lot of fun. It was a great time out there. Fortunately, it wasn't raining or hailing while we were there. And then my last thing, just want to mention last night also, Officer Parkhurst, he did an internet safety presentation. We advertised that. He went to a training in San Diego. He came back and said, I really want to start putting on some presentations for families and people in the community. We had just under 20 people that I counted show up. About half of them were kids, parents that brought their kids along. In fact, we had a kid, it was an 11-year-old that lived nearby who came on his own. And so it was nice. It was a good presentation. Appreciate Officer Parkhurst for doing that. But that's he just really came back with a heart for trying to help kids and people understand some of the dangers and to try to do something about it and share that knowledge with them. So there you go.
All right.
Thank you, Vince. Good. Okay, agenda item 5, action consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve the action consent agenda items listed?
I make a motion to approve. Second.
Okay, there is a motion and a second to approve the action consent agenda items. Any debate or discussion? Okay, we will vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Nay? 6-0. Okay, agenda item 6, annual auditing services action.
So as you can see in our cover sheet, our auditors that we've been using, which, Mary, to answer your question, Tim texted me back. He said that, in the current budget, we have $33,000. We have had that higher with the same auditor. 1 year said $45,000 because they were auditing also ESER-3 and another large group. So their services were more expensive. But we set out a request for proposal for auditing companies to pick up where our former auditors have left off. They've decided not to do that anymore, as you might recall. And so we were happy with their work, so it wasn't the issue, and they just decided not to do it anymore. So we put out an RFP. We were a little surprised at how few companies out there are interested in doing school district. And I don't know if it's just school districts or school districts and government agencies. I know that the auditing requirements for public entities is different than if you're doing an audit for a private company. And so for whatever reason, we ended up with only 3. And so, as you can see, we gave you the three different proposals from the 3 companies. And after looking at proposals, we are recommending that we use Umpqua Valley Financial for the 1 to 3 years based on the following factors that are on your cover sheet. They are the auditor for several clients around the South Coast region. So they are already doing other public schools. High recommendation from the school districts they audit. So of course we did reach out to school districts to make sure that they were kind of recommendation they had, and they received high recommendations. They're located in Roseburg, so even though we don't really, I mean, it would be kind of neat if there was a Coos Bay area auditor that was doing that, but the fact that I believe of the 3, one was in Tigard, one was in Medford, the other in Roseburg. From a regional perspective, we believe it's kind of nice to support companies, but not to support them and then get a lesser product. We feel like we're getting kind of the best of both worlds by having someone close by. They do need to come on site. It may actually save us money to not have to bring people from Tigard, from the Portland area to come down and physically be here. And the fact that they do a lot of schools in our area means that we have a network of folks locally that we can rely on. A presentation of audited financials to the school board. I also believe, as I look through here, that I'm believing, although I don't have the actual numbers, I have to look back into, I think they were also the least expensive of the 3. So I believe that their annual fee is very close to what we're currently paying. Did I remember correctly? It's $5,000. So the 33 that we currently have in the budget, 35 with this company for next year, puts us to the spot where it's essentially even. So, and the others were, substantial. So that is our recommendation. And that's what we have.
Any comments from the board? Questions? I would normally say, Vince, this is an incredibly boring topic, but I recently heard a story about a galaxy within far off, but actually within Coos County, where the independence of it was an educational institution. The independence of the auditors were compromised. And I won't say if it was in the board or the administration, but it was compromised such that they were instructed not to have any findings. And they did that. They did not have any findings. And then things happened, and then this educational institution had to go to a local bank to borrow money to make payroll. But anyway, the story being related by someone, a friend of mine, was just, something that was normally very mundane and boring had corrupted and had some pretty dire implications and outcomes for the
Yeah.
institution. So, yeah,
Yeah, and I think it's, I feel good about the recommendation, feel good that it's, again, regional, and that the people who are utilizing their services for so that.
Always good to spend local when you can.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion on this, very well. I move to authorize the district to select Umpqua Valley Financial to provide auditing service for North Bend School District for 1 to 3 years.
I second.
okay, there is a motion and a second, and the motion is I move to authorize the district to select Umpqua Valley Financial to provide auditing service for North Bend School District for 1 to 3 years. Any debate or discussion about this? Okay, we will have a vote. All in favor of Umpqua Valley Financial? Say aye.
I,
Nays? 6-0. Okay, they're in. All right, let's see, item 7, K-5 math curriculum update.
Good evening, board. I will be the third person to talk about Marathon Madness for just a moment. Ed was just showing me that North Bay started this week. And they moved to that digital system that Vince was just speaking about. Hillcrest has had that digital system in place for a year or two prior to North Bay. Ed was just showing me that this year, in the 4 days that North Bay has started, they are nearing 1,200 miles of laps. And so, Eva, I will be thrilled to hear updated information from Hillcrest. Yes, because they will have that same information. So it's very interesting. Very interesting to see that, yes. Well, thank you for having me tonight. I'd like to provide the board an update on our K-5 math adoption. We have curriculum adoption that we're doing this year. And I'd like to tell you what we've done, where we're at, and then where we're going. So in December, being Bruce and I, we ordered in 5 curriculums that were approved on the state list. And these 5 curriculums that we ordered, we chose them because they had marks that were considered exceeding the standards. So they were considered exemplary curriculums at the state. We ordered in sample boxes. And so the curriculum materials come and they are physical materials that get set up. And then our teachers had a few weeks in order to come in. They had some materials for them to use to look through the materials, sort of discern. And then we asked for them to do some rankings at that time. So after they had come to the district office, done some of that investigating with the actual curriculum, then we asked for some feedback. And after we had received our feedback, there was a pretty heavy majority just towards one curriculum. At that time, so in early March, we brought in just that one curriculum for presentation. And there was seemed to be a pretty good response from our elementary teachers at that time. We had another round of input from our K-5 teachers after this curriculum, which is called Oregon Big Ideas. They had actually physically come down and given a presentation to our teachers. And then after that, we wanted to hear back from teachers one last time. Would this be something, are you comfortable moving forward with this? And we're pleased to say that a majority of teachers did vote that yes, they are very comfortable moving forward with that curriculum. And we know we had 100% of our K-5 teachers give us feedback on what their preferences were. And while we can't please everybody, we didn't have, of course, 100% of people choosing one curriculum, but a heavy majority did lean towards Big Ideas. So at this time, we are moving forward with the adoption of Big Ideas. We have teachers that have implemented lessons. We opted not to do a large pilot, meaning like a very large scale implementation of lessons. This time around, rather what we offered to our K-5 educators was materials that they could sort of pick through and offer to sample some lessons in their classrooms. So I know that across our K-5 classrooms, we did have teachers take advantage of that. In fact, I did have a teacher reach out to me and tell me that she taught a lesson from our current curriculum, she taught a lesson from the new curriculum, and then she had the students write a an argumentative paper about which one they prefer. And so all sorts of cross connections. So that leads us to where we are now. Right now, we do have these curriculums open for public comment. I would welcome the board in at any time. Bruce and I would be happy to take you down to those curriculums and take a look if you have any interest. But I also want to extend that to our community. We did make sure that to send an email directly to families about this curriculum adoption. We'd want to make sure that families are aware of what's happening, and I would love to see some families come in. So if you have some people you can be elbowing to send to the district office, we sure would love to have them come in and take a look at those curriculums. We are moving forward. In the month of May is when we would be coming to the board for final board approval. Materials would be ordered in May and June, and implementation of these materials we would be expecting for this fall. We have training opportunities for this curriculum scheduled for this spring, and we would also have training opportunities again scheduled for the fall. And then ongoing professional development for this first year of implementation this coming school year. So that is where we are at with that curriculum. Again, it is Oregon Big Ideas. Happy to show you the materials. I'm happy to answer any questions about anything that I had mentioned tonight.
I have one question.
Please.
The curriculum that you have now, is it Common Core still?
It is, yes.
Is the Big Ideas continuing with that?
Yes, it sure is. Yes, and it'll be aligned to the Common Core state standards. Yes, it sure will be. That's a good question.
We adopted one for 6th to 12th last year.
Yes,
What was that? What was the name of that one?
that was that English curriculum at that time, and was that called Amplify?
I think.
I think Bruce had said it was Oregon, so it's the same.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Yes,
Okay.
I should mention
Yeah.
that this Big Ideas curriculum, I'm so sorry, Jim, excuse me.
No.
This curriculum, we currently do have it 6 through 12.
Okay.
And so with this adoption, this would actually be aligning for a K-12 math curriculum in our district. And that was of some particular interest to some of our teachers. That was just kind of an interest point to them. We had some teachers at the middle school that not only have been teaching it this year, but also had taught it in previous districts. And so they were able to sort of, share some tips and tricks with our elementary teachers. So there was some collaboration in that way. Yeah. Any other questions at all? Okay.
Good.
Excellent. Thank
Thank
you all
you.
very much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for your time.
Okay, agenda item 8, board comments.
And cheer. Yeah,
And did you have
cheers. That
something
was
happen this morning?
No, that was yesterday morning.
Oh.
The cheer
The
coming
cheer
back.
was coming back, yeah.
I took a side street and watched from a side street, so I didn't be in the grass.
Yeah, it's
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any other board comments? 9, information only. We have enrollment. 9C, work session 2 weeks from tonight, April 18th. Hall of Champions. We got food? We have food.
Have you met me?
I did. Right, you do a great job. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. 5:30 for the food. And we'll be meeting with our administrators from the 4 schools and special ed. And yeah, we'll be talking about, there's 3 topics: student behavior, academic achievement, and attendance. And I think it'll be similar format to what we did back in the fall, except we'll have 20 minutes with each
20 minutes at each table.
Yeah, that'll be great. So,
Where's it at? All
Oh, gosh.
champion.
All champions.
those are our best work sessions where we have the administrators there and get some good
The
feedback.
best work sessions where we have food.
That too. Food's an enabler.
You gotta feed the brain, right?
Okay, anything else? We'll call it. We'll adjourn. Thank you for